Okay, let's get started. So some of you have been requesting more Mormonism videos from me, and Mormons have been going wild lately due to obviously the internet and them being attacked and absolutely cornered like always. Um, my approach to Mormonism, if any of you see my previous videos, I do it differently. Obviously, I don't go to scripture because there's no point of using the scriptures to deal with something that clearly doesn't even care about the scriptures. Um, this video we're going to focus on Mormonism, the issue with their logic, which is really that they have no logic, and the way that they evangelize and how that's tied to it. Um, I've been trying to make as much videos as possible, but again, life is hard and I'm not trying to do YouTube professionally. So a lot of these things might take time, and I will try to do as much as I can. So this video, we're going to try to, ultimately my goal is to teach people how to really counter this cult, right? Um, Obviously, we're not here to tell people what to believe, but we do have a duty as Christians to protect the innocent from being brainwashed by cults. And so, but before we do that, I'd like to get into this. Robert Gurr, he is one of the he's a pretty famous Mormon apologist on the internet, besides from Robert Boylan, who literally runs him from everybody. Robert Boylan will not debate any Catholics. He ran from Jimmy Akins, who really isn't good at apologetics, but he would not debate anybody that's an apostolic Christian. He would not he wouldn't want to get into that, and he has ran from many apostolic Christians. So that guy's a joke. There's no need to deal with him. But Robert Gurr is one of the more bold ones. And a lot of you know that he went on Jay Dyer, and his internet name is LDS Christian. Before he went on Jay Dyer, my friend Chad and we were able to get him to go on Sam Shamoon's channel, in which he was called a fat bastard, rightfully by Sam, and kicked out. Then we got him finally to go on Jay Dyer. He was hesitant for a while. We did get him to go on Jay Dyer, and he went up as LDS Christian. And then y'all can see me calling in later in that episode to expose his name as Robert Gurr. So credit to myself. Anyways, Robert Gurr, very delusional, ignorant Mormon apologist. And I'm going to quote Jay Dyer, "You have to be gifted to be this stupid." I've debated Robert many times. In fact, recently I have posted a video of him, of me debating him and him being contradicting. And I was looking in my chat messages, and I found actually a chat debate that I had with him. That's very interesting. But the context was I was questioning him about the Brigham Young quote here. "Shall I tell you the law of God in regarding to the African race?" Let's stop here. So if a prophet says, "If I tell you the law of God," that would be a prophet speaking on behalf of God. No reasonable person would think otherwise. And surely all the Mormons at the time of Brigham Young's time did believe, when Brigham Young spoke this, that it was from God. If the white man who belongs to the chosen seed mixes his blood with the seed of Cain, the penalty under the law of God is death on the spot. This will always be so. This is the quote that I questioned Robert on, an alleged prophet of God making this statement. And now let's look at Robert's response. First, Brigham Young's statement was not a revelation, which, by the way, every Mormon at the time believed it was revelation, including Brigham Young himself, who literally said it was a revelation. He was upholding the laws that the Protestant lawmakers were making throughout the history. So let's look at this again. Shall I tell you the law of God? So God is not Protestant, okay? Even Protestants wouldn't say that. Shall I tell you the law of God? And Robert Gurr interpreted that as laws that the Protestant lawmakers made in the country. So Robert's God is a Protestant? Maybe. Um, I'm sorry, guys. This is stupid. Even now, it's been a year since this debate. So either his God is a Protestant, or they did need to follow the laws. We're not supposed to follow the law. He's calling me dumb as f, but so he's saying that the prophet of God, the church, needs to abide by the law of the Protestant government to do evil things. I don't know who's watching this video, but if that would have happened, which it did happen many times in the history of Christianity, entire churches would have been martyred for the refusal to do such evil act. But according to Robert Gurr, right? I want you guys to pay attention to the logic here. You have to obey the law of the evil Protestants as the true Church of God revived. I'm getting it that your lawmakers made the law for Mormons to follow. So Mormons has to follow the law of the Protestant government to do evil things. This is what he said. That's why they ultimately had to stop polygamy, which is because your lawmakers made law for society to follow, and they did. Okay, so what's interesting is he just contradicted his church here, because according to the Mormon church, when they were pressured, their prophet at the time actually came out and said God said that polygamy stopped. So, by the way, Robert is a polygamist. If you've seen his debate with the evangelical Paul G, he has admitted that if you divorce a wife, she is still yours to mess around with in heaven. That's what. So he just literally admitted the Mormon Church would have still be doing polygamy if Protestants didn't make the law. But anyways, Robert Gurr in this debate literally conceded that the Mormon Church, the true Church of God, needs to follow the evil Protestants. I just want that to be out there. Any of you could clip this and kind of make it viral. He's already viral, but he ended his career when he debated Jay. Next part, I want to go to how they're evangelizing people. Method 1 is hot online missionary girls. I love brunettes, so this girl to me is kind of pretty. Again, we all have different tastes. I mean, I've seen blondes, but they're using a lot of missionary girls, which most of you won't actually ever talk to, because most of them are talking to family words. Once you click sign up, you'll enter your information, and you'll get called by male missionaries. So you're not going to be talking to a girl this hot. And what they'll do is get you to subscribe to Delusion. Usually what happens is that they give you the Book of Mormon, ask you to read it, and to find out if it's true by praying, and you will feel the burning of the bosom. But this is a long-term social engineering plan. What they're doing is that they're trying to get this idea that there's no logic, doesn't really matter. All that matters is your feeling, and if you feel good, that's the Holy Spirit. And this is how dumb this cult is. Basically, you read the Book of Mormon would tell you if it's true or not, and that's a circle. Okay, if anybody doesn't know, appealing to the thing in question is a circle and a fallacy. What they'll do is they'll invite you out to have fun, to do like young people stuff, young adult groups, and just to give you that really warm family atmosphere, and eventually you'll feel the burning of the bosom, right? If you really want to be a part of something, it's easy to feel that way. So this is like dumb level mental engineering. Unfortunately, we do live in the United States of America, and we're not necessarily the brightest tool in the deck, right? So this is the method. So if we are to protect people from being brainwashed into this cult, which I hope this girl gets out of there. She's too hot to stay in there, but we have to start working, really reminding people of their God-given logic, because you can easily see how stupid this is. Last part, okay? No logic, or flock logic, like I called it. Mormons will often tell you that God isn't logical, and I'll tell you why in a second. their argument usually involves something like Joseph Smith is a prophet because the Book of Mormon is true, or Joseph Smith is a prophet because the church has fallen. And if you guys ever see my debates with Mormons, they've no idea when the church fell, how the church fell. So you don't even know how the thing happened. You're saying it just somehow happened. First of all, that's stupid. Basically, that's an assertion without any sort of proof. And it's also outside of your authority as well. The circle is also that Joseph Smith, we know this because of Joseph Smith. And Joseph Smith is true because the Book of Mormon is true. Book of Mormon is true is because of Joseph Smith. That's also circle. It's just endless circles. But they will tell you God isn't logical. Why? Because they believe all intelligences are eternal. So there's never, in that system, there can never be an epistemic foundation. Never. They don't believe being eternal is a property of God. It's an attribute of God. They don't believe that. They believe everybody are mini gods. But what doesn't make sense is if you guys think about it, then how did God become God? Did he progress himself? If he progresses himself and we're all eternal, that means we can all project ourselves. And this is where you see the Mormon doctrine really changed, because in the beginning of Mormonism, it says they're endless gods, but we don't know the source of the endless gods. And we are literally created physically or biologically to become gods. Now that has changed into, oh, we're all eternal, right? To be fair, though, they do believe that God cannot create things out of nothing, which is where they get the intelligence from. Intelligences are eternal. But that doctrine has drastically changed and misinterpreted by many generations of Mormons. Regardless, if you believe that intelligences existed in some way, then, or, if God is not eternal, either one of those positions will never provide you any sort of epistemic justification, which makes logic literally subjective and impossible. This is why this cult is dumb and illogical. And if you would say that the universe is not created equally, or then you're going to have, that's a separate thing, because many of them do believe that there has been lesser and greater beings since the very beginning. That's thus God. Certain gods can progress. Certain God can be, molded like we are humans, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you guys watch this other video that I think the recent video I posted of me debating Robert Gurr, he actually said that Jesus Christ we had to be made perfect again after being made perfect, which is ridiculous. Because I questioned him on why do we need to fall? So, and they do admit the Calvinist position that God predestined people to fall. I don't even know if Calvinists are dumb enough to follow that. They think that God made us, predestined us to fall, so then we can become perfect. So we were created perfectly, and then God made us not perfect to become perfect, which is absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, there's 2 more videos I want to make on this topic, and eventually I'm going to start touching on some of the theology, which is, I don't like touching theology with Mormonism because there's just so many different thoughts. It's essentially, it's a make it up as you go religion. It's not deep. It's just a fairy story. Again, if y'all seen the debate with Jay Dyer, which I have clipped it on my channel here as well. I don't even want to get into it. Robert Gurr said that Joseph Smith was Messiah ben Joseph from the Talmud, which, by the way, many early Mormons didn't teach that. That was what he made up on its own. So again, refer to my previous videos. It really depends on what Mormon you are talking to. But most likely you're rarely gonna get one that believes logic matters. That is really why this cult is very hard to refute. And it really is not a biblical solution. It's not something that evangelical or Protestant go on the street and accomplish. Thank you for watching, and I will try to make more of these videos as soon as I can. Okay, you guys have a good day. Happy Lent.